All right, we're gonna check your feet here. Oh my goodness, what's happening to my vision? I can't see. I can't see anymore. How am I gonna do this adjustment? Alright guys, so that leads us to this burning question for this video. If I was to lose my vision, would it still be possible for me as a chiropractor to still deliver chiropractic adjustments? Sure, your vision is very important for evaluating patients. It's going to help out with looking at their posture, looking at their x-rays, their feet, and if there's misalignment in their hips. But it doesn't have to be necessarily the most important sense that we use as chiropractors. The one that we use the most is actually your touch. So we're going to be diving into how we can develop that touch and answer that very important question patients always ask me. How did you know I had pain there? Let's dive into the top 3 things for developing your touch right now. Here we go. So something that really helped me out in chiropractic school with developing my touch is when one of my professors came up to me and said, if you're right hand dominant, your left brain is probably working harder. So your ability to sense the different vertebrae, the touch and all that is going to be a little bit harder to do with your more dominant hand relative to your non-dominant hand. At first I thought, this is crazy, but after years and years and years, I just always know that I've relied more on my left hand, my non-dominant hand, for actually developing the sensitivity and feeling vertebrae like on smaller people, on like babies and children, because that smaller touch absolutely helping me with that fine motor movement and being able to actually feel that vertebrae move between my fingers. If I do that with my right hand, it's a little bit harder to pick up. So just know that if you are trying to develop the sensitivity in your hand, you're going to want to try more with your non-dominant hand rather than your dominant hand. So it all comes back to the brain. There's a challenge you could do at home. You can actually take an eyelash, put it down anywhere on the piece of paper, have somebody do this for you, put the other piece of paper on top of that, and then using your non-dominant hand, scanning the paper, trying to find out where that is. So I'm going to show you how we do that right here. Here's the paper, now we scan it. Forgot how big these pieces of paper are. Feels like it right there. Be my guess. Feels like it right there. Wanna try it? Just like that. That's how it's done. Gotta be good. So when it comes to the hypertonicity or the muscle changes around a person's joint, I sometimes tell patients their spine literally feels like cement. You can probably push on their spine, and I push on this wall, and there's just absolutely no give whatsoever. And the muscle tone is so hard that we know that something's wrong right there. I do see that a lot accompanied with arthritis throughout the spine. A way to practice this is that we give our patients home care kits, and down here we have the difference between a block and a foam roller. To help develop this touch to actually determine if there's misalignments, it's like if you push in on this foam roller, it has a nice solid give. It's soft, and this is what it should feel like when the muscles relax. There's no restriction in the motion of the joint compared to this block where there's no give whatsoever, maybe just a very tiny amount, but then we know that the muscle is really hard and contracting, and that's going to be more of a area of leanness, like, okay, this area probably needs further evaluation. So the third thing that actually helps with chiropractors being able to determine if there's a subluxation is actually the motion of a joint. Sure, it helps to actually know the anatomy of the body, but if you look at this is 2 vertebrae that are stacked one on top of each other, and this is your spinous, and on the sides of my broken model, there's going to be transverse process. And so if a vertebrae is in great alignment, it's going to have good motion left and right, and it's going to glide like that. But if there's a misaligned joint and it rotates like this and it's stuck, and you push on that joint, you're going to feel that there's restriction there, and that restriction is also going to be accompanied by the muscle tone alongside that vertebrae and possibly some inflammation and pain. So this is one major indicator that we look for as we're actually evaluating a patient's spine just by using our hands. So how to determine if there's motion in a joint? It's really simple. You can do it a couple different ways. To be more specific, to see left and right and just kind of seeing if the vertebrae is misaligned, I will actually take my fingers and go along the spine like this, pushing into each individual joint as you go up this spine. But if you don't really know and can feel all the different vertebrae and all the different landmarks, you can just actually use this palm part of your hand and just push on a person's spine. And you can actually feel when the joint is more bouncy, that means it has that motion in it and that vertebrae is moving cleanly. But if you go ahead and you push on a vertebrae or a spine and it's actually feeling like it's kind of stuck, that's when you're gonna know that that vertebrae probably has lost some motion in it, and that's gonna be one of the telltale signs that there's something wrong in that area. So to demonstrate how chiropractors actually use their sense of touch to deliver an adjustment more so than any of the other 5 senses, I'm gonna be adjusting my wife Isabel right here. And I'm gonna be using the sensitivity of my fingers, feeling the tonicity along her spine, and also feeling for that vibration or feeling for that motion between the joint. And then I'm gonna be delivering this thrusting techniques. Are you ready?
Yes.
One quick disclaimer is that we do not do this on our patients. I don't recommend doing this on anybody blindfolded, but the point is just to demonstrate that we don't actually need to use our eyes to actually adjust people. Completely blindfolded here. So like right now, as I feel Isabel's sacrum, you can feel that it's misaligned here to the right. And as we go up the spine, and I'm doing these little touches right here along her spine, pushing in. That's me feeling for the restrictions. So there's one right there, and the tonicity right there on that vertebrae is off. Women will a lot of times get this tenseness too around the bra strap lining. That's where a lot of the support, and you'll feel a lot of the muscle tonicity be stronger around that area. So then one more time right here, she has a misalignment. So it's right here, and then down here. Okay. I'm feeling the spines of the vertebrae going on the transverse process right here. I'm gonna do some tissue pull, deep breath in and deep breath out. Nice. And I didn't even thrust. So that's how much that really needed to go. Okay. All right. Okay. Nice. Nice. Moved already. Perfect. Okay, so I'm gonna have you go ahead and look up here. Nice, one time. That was. The hardest part is just getting around the table. Sorry. Alright. I like to push on the outsides of the vertebrae when I'm adjusting my patients, because that's a specific landmark that helps with adjustments called the lamina, and that can actually determine if there's any restriction in the vertebrae. Like right here, she's really restricted, this upper cervical on the right. And then I'm just going back and forth, feeling the motion more than anything, and then a little bit more right here. But her biggest one by far is here in the upper right. So I'm gonna just feel and set up on that vertebrae again. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I got my thumb on your zygomatic arch. Kind of feel the tension. That's a long one.
Clunk.
So we adjusted 3 different regions. Start with the thoracics, then the lumbars, working on that sacrum, and then the cervicals, all based on just what I was feeling with my fingers, the muscle tonicity around her spine, and the motion within the joints. And that's how you can adjust patients without actually even having to use your eyesight. So it's pretty incredible stuff. So there you have it. That's how chiropractors use this sensory and have been developing this through chiropractic school. So it's more than just going to school to learn how to study. It's actually developing this sensory and this touch that takes years to do, which gets us so specific in adjusting people's spines. So if you love this information, want to know more about chiropractic or chiropractors, what we do, make sure you hit that like and subscribe and leave a comment below. Keep it cracking. See you in the next one. So we just, I don't even know where you're at, Dominique.
Over here.
So